And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. They have, I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back to a brand new video. So, about 2 days ago, we had our very first presidential debate between Kamala Harris, also known as the Chameleon, and Donald Trump. And to say that it was a circus would be an understatement. There were so many crazy highlights from this debate. It was extremely disappointing on many levels, and it also was frustrating to watch in real time. That was my takeaway. This video, I'm going to break down some of the highlights and just my basic thoughts of what I felt about the debate. And I also want to bring in some commentary from other perspectives, specifically about certain moments within this debate, because it was a doozy. So first of all, it took place on ABC, which is also the home of The View. So that should give you an indication of this specific station and channel and what they think of Donald Trump and how they were going to treat him prior to coming on to their platform. Now, Donald Trump originally didn't want to go on ABC. He said that it was a very liberal network. They were going to be biased against him. And the left completely lost their minds. They called him a chicken. They called him a coward. They said he was scared. They said he was afraid. Mind you, Donald Trump has done so many sit-down interviews with tough questions coming at him almost every single week. Whereas Chameleon has barely even been in the spotlight. In fact, the first interview that she actually did, where it was a sit-down, was only done once and with her running mate by her side. Couldn't do it by herself. So Donald Trump knew that he was going into the lion's den for this debate on ABC, and like clockwork, it definitely played out the way that we thought it was going to play out, where not only did you have him going up against Kamala Harris, but he was also going up against the moderators, who for some reason felt it only necessary to fact check him in real time, while never once fact checking Kamala Harris. And a perfect example of this was the very first question that the moderator asked Kamala Harris, which was, is the country better off or worse off 4 years after her administration with Biden? And her answer was a long monologue about how she was a little girl growing up middle class and pretty much talked in circles. And not once did the moderators check her and say, Madam Vice President, you didn't answer the question. Is the country better or worse off? Instead, they just let that fly over their heads and kept moving.
And your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax.
If you didn't watch the debate and you're wondering, did she ever actually answer the question or get around to the question? No, she did not. Instead, she talked about her aspirations and dreams for Americans and how she hopes for the middle-class American to move up in life. Newsflash, lady, you've been the vice president, second in command, for the last 4 years. And we all know that Biden is pretty much out for the count. So technically, you are the one running the country right now. So you're trying to tell me that now you have a plan that's going to work, even though for the past 4 years, our country has gone down the drain economically. Americans are not happy. Americans do not feel secure. Americans do not feel like they have a safety net when it comes to the future of this country because of how horrible our economy looks right now under your administration. So I just find it rich that she spends the entire time talking about when I was a little girl and her dreams and hopes for Americans and this opportunity economy, which makes no damn sense, but yet never once talks about why it didn't work for the past 4 years while she was second in command. And then, of course, she goes to the, my opponent, your opponent, when he was a president, gave us a much better economy. Those are just facts. I just find it funny that her entire performance last night was all about, I'm the change candidate. I'm the change candidate. How are you the change candidate when your administration is currently in power right now? When you're second in command and your policies don't show any difference from Biden. In fact, any differences that you do have tend to mirror Donald Trump's policies, which is why he joked and said, I should have gotten her a MAGA hat because she's pretty much mimicking me. But it gets worse. Now, we all know that we are amongst the worst we've ever seen of a border crisis, with migrants flooding in and taking up all the resources, and we just don't have the capacity to handle all of these migrants. Not to mention the crimes that are happening. Now, we know that Kamala Harris was appointed the border czar, even though everybody in liberal media, including ABC, seems to have forgotten that point, right? Talk about a fact check. So the ABC moderator asked her about the border crisis and what's happening with immigration, and does she, take any responsibility? This lady decides to, instead of talking about the border crisis, she goes into distraction mode to try and bait Donald Trump. So she starts talking about his rallies and his crowd size and how people are leaving his rallies early and how he's just a maniac. Never once actually expresses or talks about what's happening at the border. And of course, the moderators never check her. Again, never say, Madam Vice President, you didn't answer the question. What's happening at the border and did you fail? What did you or did you not do that you wish you would have done? Nothing. No pushback. Instead, she reeled Donald Trump in with the stupid crowd size nonsense that nobody cares about. And sadly, Donald Trump fell for the bait because rather than discussing the border crisis in detail and how she is directly responsible, he responded by talking about, my crowds are bigger, my crowds are great, my rallies are amazing, people never leave, blah, blah, blah. And as a viewer, it just deflated me because I'm like, no, don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. This is what she wants. She wants to bait you. She wants to distract you because she knows that head to head, when it comes to policies, she fails, especially on immigration, which is why she is using a distraction tactic to talk about your rallies and your rally sizes and your crowd sizes, which we all know she would never do unless she was desperate to get away from the actual topic, which is the fact that she failed on the border. Completely failed. Watch this.
Then he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there.
And guys, look at her face. Look at it. She has a face that's like, it's working. Keep talking. Keep talking. Unreal. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you look at the policies head to head, Donald Trump 100% beats her. She can't compete against him. And that's why she did that little stunt. All the looks that she kept giving, all of that was purposefully done to try to distract him and also to create memes for herself. Because she knows that because the mics were going to be muted in this debate, if she wasn't speaking, she had to somehow still steal the attention from him. So while he's talking, she's doing all of these exaggerated looks and smiles and giggles and hand gestures because she wanted people to not focus on what he was saying, but to focus on her and her response. And it's worked because people online are memeing her and saying, oh my God, Kamala Harris did this, Kamala Harris did that. Did you see her face? When you're a clown, that's what you do. You perform. And that's exactly what she did last night because she has no substance. None. What blows my mind even more is the fact that we are living in what feels like the Twilight Zone. And the reason why I say that is because Kamala Harris was literally celebrating over the fact that Dick Cheney is endorsing her. and the Cheneys just love her. I mean, you can't make this up. Dick Cheney is from the Bush administration, okay? And that administration, before Donald Trump, they were called the Hitlers, and they were called the threats to democracy, and they actually were the ones starting wars, by the way. So I just find it rich that a former vice president, who, by the way, had about a 9% approval rating when he left office, that he's endorsing her, and she actually is excited about it, as if it's a good thing. One warmonger to another. Listen to RFK break this down perfectly.
And then on the issues of war, I think, Vice President Harris was bragging about her endorsements by people like Dick Cheney and John Bolton. These are the neocons. There's 225 neocons who endorsed her in the last week. These are people who are pro-war, pro-censorship, pro-surveillance. These are the people who gave us the Patriot Act, that gave us the Iraq War. They're not endorsing her because they've changed their mind about anything. They were exiled from both the Republican and Democratic Party. Now they're all back. And that's what I worry most about Vice President Harris as a president, that, we're closer now to nuclear conflict than we've been at any time since 1948. And we're in with these wars, and the Iraq War, which, we should have never gotten into, and she doesn't seem to understand at all. She has an inch of knowledge about it.
He said it. I do want to say, though, that even though Kamala Harris was given a lot of immunity in this debate, right? She was being taken care of by the moderators who were more busy fact-checking Donald Trump than they were her, which, by the way, I'm not against moderators fact-checking any candidate if they're saying something that isn't accurate or has a falsehood attached to it. Like, I'm perfectly fine with saying, actually, these are the stats, just to correct the record. But the problem is when you're only doing it towards one candidate and you're not doing it towards the other, it's very clear that that's being done because there is a bias. I mean, here's just a couple of things that she said in the debate that were either exaggerated or just not true.
A detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Let's remember Charlottesville. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
So let's go through some of these falsehoods, shall we? Project 2025. Donald Trump has said numerous times that he is not associated with Project 2025, that he does not agree with many of the statements from Project 2025, and that the people who created Project 2025 are not currently serving under him or helping him in any way, shape, or form in his campaign. But Kamala Harris doesn't really care about that, right? Because as long as she keeps saying it over and over again, she gets to create a false narrative. And the moderators? Nothing. No fact-checking. IVF. Donald Trump said in the debate that he is actually a supporter of IVF. He is not against it in any way, shape, or form. In fact, when the ban happened in Alabama, he actually spoke out against it and said he was not in agreement with this ruling. Now, does Kamala Harris talk about that? Of course not. Moderators? Nothing. Abortion ban. Donald Trump has clearly stated that he wants abortion to be up to the states, the way that it was supposed to be originally and not up to the federal government. He also said that he is in favor of abortion in cases of incest and in cases of sexual assault. Again, Kamala Harris ignores that fact. And the moderators, again, nothing. She brings up Charlottesville, where he said that they will find people on all sides. If you listen to the quote in full, in its full context, you will understand that he was not praising neo-Nazis. In fact, that has been debunked numerous times. But again, Kamala Harris doesn't care about that because she wants to throw out the daggers and hopes that one of them sticks. Because the narrative is more important than actual facts and truth. And the moderators, again, are not going to do their job and fact check her. And lastly, the bloodbath comment, which had nothing to do with the election and everything to do with the automobile industry. He was talking about the automobile industry and what's going to happen to that industry if Biden, who at the time was still the nominee, got reelected because of how horrible he's been to the automobile industry because of our horrible economy. But again, who cares about context? Let's take words out of context, throw it out there, and pin it to Donald Trump. and hope that people are lazy enough not to understand what actually was said. And it's easy to do when, again, you have two moderators who aren't doing their job, who are so busy nitpicking every single thing that Donald Trump said, but let everything that she was saying go over their heads. Disgrace. Now look, with that said, I'm gonna say this. I think that Donald Trump should have performed a whole lot better than what he did. Yes, the moderators were against him. Kamala Harris was not being fact-checked, but he did get more airtime than she did because they kept asking him most of the questions and directing things to him to respond to. He had a lot of opportunity to really go in on Kamala Harris and really articulate his point because, again, if you put their policies side by side, he wins hands down. But unfortunately, she was being a clown. She was purposefully trying to distract him. She was baiting him, and he took a lot of the bait, which is really sad to see because he's better than this. He's a whole lot better than this, and in my opinion, he did not perform well in that debate, really driving the points that needed to be heard. I really hope that they do a second debate, which I think is in the works for later on this month. Please do it. Please do it, Trump. Do it and knock her out with facts, because trust and believe, there was no substance in anything that she said in that debate. Absolutely none. It was all just a word salad, word diarrhea, and her performing while you were talking and trying to distract the audience. That's all she has, because her policies are trash. And notice in the debate, she tried so hard to separate herself from Joe Biden. She even said to Trump at one moment, "I'm your opponent, not Joe Biden." Now, if I were Donald Trump, what I would have said in response to that is, are you sure? Because your policies mirror his policies. In fact, if you're so different from him, then why are you a part of this administration? Are you admitting right here live on TV that your work in this administration has not been good enough? Is that why you're trying to distance yourself from Joe Biden? Like, if Trump had said that, it would have completely body slammed her, because what argument could she make? She was trying so hard to say, I'm the change candidate, but yet all of her policies mirror what we have right now that's not working. And the few policies that she's changed her positions on, like fracking and the border, are more in line with Donald Trump. So what exactly is an original thought? Please tell us. We would love to know. Like, those are some of the moments that I feel like Donald Trump missed in uppercutting her with, because, again, he has the upper hand. The American people by far are tired of this administration, and they're tired of what's happening right now. It's not working. Trump's plan works, but it's about articulating that. It's about landing that point. And I felt like he was distracted. He was talking about other things. I'm not even going to get into the eating dogs and cats comment, because why say that? Why? Even if a fraction of that is true, it's too distracting. And what you're going to have is people using that as a meme to say, oh my God, look how crazy he is, versus talking about how she didn't answer a damn thing. And that's exactly what's happened. Everyone's talking about the dog cat eating comment, and they're not talking about the fact that she underperformed if you really listen to what she was saying. So I hope and pray that they do a second debate, that he gets prepped with a much better team that can help him prepare for this next battle. And I hope that I hope it's a cage match, because she is too dangerous to get another 4 years. God forbid. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. What did you think of the debate? Did you watch it? Was it hard to watch? Was it cringy? Let me know. I want to know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit my notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. Until next time, peace.